Welcome back to Hot Rod Guy Garage. And it's Sunday, so that means I had to come to the shop and feed Daisy. So stick with me through the intro, and I'll be back. We'll go over a few things. So on the list of daily things I do, even when I'm technically not working, I have to come to the shop and feed Daisy, take care of things, mow the yard, do all the things that nobody likes to do. So sometimes that eats into some project videos. So while I was here this morning, I let her out for a little while where she can go outside and, do cat things. So I messed around with this 65 Mustang a little bit. So this video is probably just going to be some project updates, kind of some in-between filler material in between all the project car videos. And, it's just going to be some general randomness here and there. But I took those bolts out of that apron, so let me flip that around. So my curiosity got the best of me, and I took all them bolts out right there while she was out running around doing her cat stuff. And as I anticipated, this was not welded in at all. Also anticipated that core support's all rotted out around the front flange. So it's definitely going to have this repaired and the core support replaced. I dug around up here in the cowl just a little bit more on this side and found even more rust. Once again, not surprised. So let's go out here and we'll talk about what I've done to the 66 Mustang. You know you're not hiding, right? Yeah, you can see you through the grill. But it's a good hiding spot. So I took some of that Osfo and I just brushed half this hood yesterday just to, put something over the rust to see if it would, protect it. It ate all that primer off. And yep, totally not what I intended to do. So I figured I'd see how viable of an option it was, is treating this stuff on, the outside of the car until I can get to the project. Also done the floors. They look a lot better. So hopefully that'll protect it from getting any worse for a little while. Also, it's pretty good about putting a little coating on top of the rust and keeping it from getting any worse. So I've done all the floors. Like I said, I've done that half the hood. Not real happy about that, but it is what it is. And I come in here and put some on, this. And over here. So, if you remember from the last video, this stuff does look significantly different than it did the last time. I have to say, I've never seen it do that. Kind of interesting. But also don't know what kind of primer they sprayed on the car, so, it may have reacted with it and done that. Because as you see inside the car, it didn't do anything as far as reacting. So, I don't know. I just wanted to put something on it that might help protect it. So, but all you can do when it's going to be a little while before you get that project. So, I still got to decide what I'm doing with the 66. Still ain't made my mind up. I went and looked at a mini stock chassis. A little out of my price range. Now it's going to get into, boy, stuff is priced ridiculous on Marketplace. So, my second option was I was going to try to find a cheap Granada or a cheap four-door Maverick that may have run and drove and, wasn't fixable or beyond the scope of fixing. Let's face it, Granadas were always sacrificial lambs in this kind of industry. So, what it would have gave me was everything to make that car at least a roller, if not a running driving car. Have you priced a Granada lately? Check out your Marketplace. You might have a heart attack. So the next thing that needs an update is outside here. And it's something I get asked all the time why I haven't made a video on it in a while. So let me flip it around. So I actually drove this Theo to the shop this morning. As you can see, I've not washed it since the track video. Still deciding what I'm doing with the car. Just like the 66, I don't know what its fate is. But it definitely needs, some body work and some other things. But it is alive and well and still runs and drives. So there's that one. Now I have had thoughts. Now, don't burn me at the stake for this, but I have had thoughts about taking the SVO and the 66, putting them together. Personally, I don't know. But I can tell you this, the inner rocker panel dimensions to a Fox body is identical to a 64 through 66 car. There, however, is about 7 inches of wheelbase difference, and most of that is in this cowl region. So it is a viable option. That's why I went and looked at mini stock chassis. So I don't know. Now, I like everything respectfully as what it is, and there's plenty of Fox bodies here around the shop that I could use as a donor. In fact, I've got another 2.3 turbo sitting here in the floor. So it's always a possibility. The chassis swap 66. I just don't know if that's the route I want to go. And here's my spare 2.3 short block that I have. It was a long block, complete running motor. I pulled the head off, sent to the machine shop to get work for the SVO, and the head ended up being cracked. So what I do have is a hydraulic bell housing right there. I have a turbo coupe and a good short block, along with a 64.5mm master power turbo, as so. And kicking around here somewhere is a, oh, there it is, an RE manifold. So that's always an option. I know it's not no V8 and not no 4-speed, but whatever I plan on building, it's going to be a driver like the SVO. Hence that thought. So I don't know.
Later.
And I'm back home. So there's a couple things we need to do. One of them is start Project Phoenix up. Probably one of the most underrated, underviewed video series on my channel. So let's get it started up and make sure it still runs. And if you're new to the channel, that's normally where the motor would go. But it's back here. And if anybody didn't want to check out the series and wonder what was back here, it is a Series 3 3800, which is also the only one that's been swapped into anything else that actually runs. The Series 3 is known to be troublesome to swap, and it's also got a big old GT45 turbo hung off of it. So hopefully I didn't lose everybody when I started talking about Geo stuff. It's something that I enjoy messing with personally. It's something that's kind of fun to mess with. So I'd appreciate it if you stuck with me a little bit. So let me explain what I've been going on with this one. So I left this one last off with the front end swap update video. I've not made any Geo content lately, mostly because I've been trying to source some parts. So thanks to my buddy Potter, I now have the all elusive 4-cylinder jack shaft, and that needs to go in there. alternately, I did order a set of axles for it. So it shouldn't be too long. This thing will be back running and driving. And we can start doing some more drag testing with it. So the slicks are down here in the garage. As you can see, I've got it filled up with some water. And that's some old coolant from the block. But I got all the OBD2 swap stuff into the 94. I do have a slight wiring problem with the low beam headlights. And I've got a weird light on the dash I've never seen before. So I've been trying to kind of troubleshoot and diag that. But a lot of you guys are going to be happy to know that this thing does run. So as you can see, I even swapped the 96 column in it. I got the 94 fuse box down there. But the car, if I can get the key in the switch, fuel pump runs. And I'm not going to run it too long because I'm all shut up in the garage down here. Obviously don't want to, go to sleep forever. So Freetro does run. So we're one step closer to having it running and driving. So that's going to bring us to the next elephant in the room. We'll talk about the 70. And this one's going to be me kind of going into a rant again. Kind of like I did on the 65 Mustang in the last video. I'm going to rant about some things about the 70 Torino. So, I have come to a point where our off-the-shelf Hayes torque converter is not going to work with 306 on it, with turbo on it. I do believe we were passing the foot-pound rating of the hydraulic coupling of the torque converter. So what I have done, I have reached out to several big name companies, more or less like Ultimate Converter out of South Carolina, Neil Chance, Hughes out in California, Broader Performance, and a couple others. I've only heard back from one within a week, which is pretty sad on itself, but I did hear back. And who I heard back from was Broader Performance. It's been a big, long amount of time filling out these spec sheets for these converters. Hopefully somebody could help me. And the email I got back was, we've never built a Ford 6-cylinder converter. We don't know what the dimensions are. Notice the look on my face. Anybody that knows, if you got a Ford C6, you only have 3 bell housing options for it. One of them's a small block Ford, one of them's an FE, and one of them's a big block Ford. If you're in the torque converter industry, you're going to know that if somebody's got a Ford C6, it's not adapted to something else because the bell housing does not come off. So basically, the 306-cylinder uses a small block Ford style torque converter, which is an 11/7/16 bolt pattern. It's still going to have the standard C6 31 spline input. So I would assume it was their way of saying, hey, I don't want to mess with it. I instantly shot them an email back, explained it was same converters, a 164 tooth flywheel or flex plate, small block Ford, and never heard nothing again. So that's where I stand. We're kind of stuck where we're stuck. Now it still runs and drives, and I can drive it around, cruise it around, what have you. But to ever get any of those good track numbers that I know that it will put down because the car does work, I gotta have a torque converter. I've never seen it so hard in the last few years to try to give people your money and you can't hear nothing back from them. So I've got a couple other contacts that I'm going to have to actually make phone calls and talk to them on the phone because, they don't have spec sheets on their websites or you know, as reputable as these big companies that make themselves to be. So I'm going to assume probably one of those will be able to help me out. I really hope so, because I didn't build this to be a garage ornament, and I didn't build it to not run at the track, because I've got a lot of time in this swap, quite a bit of money, to be disappointed in a, almost $600 shelf converter that just ain't gonna work. So, little rant there about that, but it's getting bad, guys. Parts have went through the roof. Things have gotten so high that they're almost out of the reach of, a budget style enthusiast like myself. Everything I've ever had, I've built cheap, try to build cheap, and do the best quality work I can when I do it. Hence something like Project Freetro over here, which is more or less just a fun project. That's why it's kind of ratty. That's why everything I've done on it's been kind of cheap and budget minded. So if marketplace stuff keeps going up, private party sale stuff keeps going up on used parts for junk, I don't think our hobby's meant to be last too much longer. So if you got some parts laying around, and I mean I do, but don't be greedy. If there's somebody building something and they show interest in it, try to help them out as much as you can. Because if we don't help each other, you're not going to get anywhere in the end. So, with that said, that's pretty much updates on everything. I'm going to mess around with free throw down here in the garage a little bit today, because that's what I want to do. While I ponder what I'm doing with the 66 Mustang and what I'm doing about torque converter on the 70, what I'm doing with Project Phoenix, SVO, and just generally ponder life. But it's part of it, guys. When you got multiple project cars, you just usually don't have a lot of money to put in all of them. And I preached that for many years to a lot of the younger guys. If you got multiple project cars, your budget drops way low for everything. You thin the herd down, your budget grows. So, like I said, it might be time to thin some stuff out of the herd. Well, guys, that being said, this is going to be the end of this video. Sometimes there's just not a lot that's video worthy that happens around the house here, the home shop. So I try to bring y'all what I can. Sometimes there's holdups, like with the red car, with Freetro, and with the SVO. And then sometimes there's just too much stuff going on in the shop, like that red 65. So if you like these kind of videos, hit that like button, comment down below. It helps YouTube pick this stuff up on our algorithm. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button, because it does help the channel to grow, and it is absolutely free. And if you are a subscriber, I greatly appreciate you guys watching. So until the next video, I'll see y'all at the next one. Thanks for watching.